What's up? It's Marco, Sage of Soccer, and the U.S. Men's National Team World Cup qualifying roster just dropped, and man, it's an interesting squad. There are a lot of things to talk about. I think first, just get into the positives because we can get into it more. I've got the full roster in the description. That might be helpful with what I'm talking about, but yeah, going into the roster, the main positive is the starting 11 is extremely strong. I'm looking down this roster. We can have Zack, Steffen, or Matt Turner in goal, either one. Sergiño, Dest is there, Anthony Robinson, Chris Richards, Miles Robinson, all there. Tyler Adams, the whole MMA midfield. McKennie, Musa, they're there as well. Pulisic is available. Pepe's there. Aaronson, Tim Weah as well. We were not sure if he was even going to be able to be selected because of his injury, but him being there, that's a huge plus. So that's good to see, and it's a big team. 28 players. I think you can count as a 27-man team because we're not going to play our fourth-choice goalkeeper. Yeah, that's a lot of very good things there. Even some of the depth is pretty good. I mentioned Weah. It's nice to see him there. So we got three really strong wingers. Luca de la Torre is available. That's a very good creative midfielder off the bench. Then even at center back, I like Walker Zimmerman. He's a good depth piece. Having Reggie Cannon there, that's somebody who I didn't expect to be in, who I really wanted to see. So yeah, some very good selections there. However, there are a couple negatives with the squad, and it's mostly related to the depth. And I just want to say that depth matters a lot this window. It's a three-man window, and last time we settled for a draw against Jamaica because we did not have enough quality players to bring off the bench, and when we were exhausted, we just had to stop. We just had to put on Kellyn Acosta at an 8 position because we didn't have enough creative players off the bench because the MLS does not produce creative players in MLS lifers. So when I'm looking through the squad, it is pretty disappointing to still see Sebastian Lletget and Christian Roldan in the midfield. I've said this before with Sebastian Lletget, he's good if a game becomes end-to-end, but when I'm looking at how we're going to be playing against Honduras and El Salvador, those games should not be end-to-end. So if Sebastian Lletget is playing in those games and we are not able to dominate the ball, you do not want to play end-to-end. You don't want that to turn into a basketball game, if that's how they say it in Europe, but you don't want Sebastian Lletget in those games because unless we're up like 4-0, you might be able to do something, but he's not good enough on the ball to dominate possession, and Christian Roldan just isn't good enough on an international level. I can see some plus sides of Sebastian Lletget. I don't feel like he's good enough, but Christian Roldan, he doesn't offer anything. Going forward, I'm a little disappointed about Paul Arriola being in the squad. I don't think he offers anything more work rate-wise than Brenden Aaronson or even a Josh Sargent or Christian Pulisic. And work rate is not a reason to bring somebody into a team, especially because if we were going up against Alphonso Davies, it'd be a dumb argument, but you would have an argument for bringing a defensive winger. I don't want to hear it. It's nothing. Like, look at how dangerous wingers are in the Premier League. Like, could you imagine Liverpool dropping Mo Salah to try to defend well against somebody like a Ben Chilwell? It's stupid. But you'd at least have an argument. But with him gone, like, there's nothing that Paul Arriola will bring because he's so limited offensively at this international level. Jordan Morris, if he's here, I'm assuming he's back to 100%. And if he's back to 100%, that's good. But if he isn't, it's up in the air. Then going to the defense, something really weird is Antonee Robinson's our only left back. Joe Scally was dropped from this team for... He was playing. I know he was sick earlier, but he's back, so I don't know why Joe Scally was dropped. Sergiño Dest is probably our only option at that left back position. Like, we didn't even call up Tim Ream, which, like, I don't want Tim Ream in this team, but Tim Ream was in this squad consistently when he wasn't playing at all, when he was with Fulham in the Premier League, and now that he's playing every game, and he actually put in a pretty decent performance in his only World Cup qualifying appearance, he's just been dropped. Like, geez, like, I don't want him in the team, but I'd understand it. Like, we didn't bring... I heard DeJuan Jones wasn't pressing. George Bello is somebody we called in a lot. Sam Vines is playing again. Like, why did we not bring in a backup left back? I certainly would have liked any of those guys over Brooks Lennon. Like, I don't understand why we don't have a backup left back. Sergiño Dest, he can play there, but it's not something I'm sold on, and I don't understand that decision. Looking at the center backs, Mark McKenzie has played a bit more, but he's still not a regular. Chris Richards, I want him to start. Miles Robinson, I want him to start. But, okay, just going into the snubs, John Brooks is something we have to talk about because he's playing consistently for Wolfsburg, and he's playing well. At this point, it's just a power struggle thing between a manager and a player. And John Brooks is one of our two defenders with Chris Richards, who is good enough defensively to play at this international level and good on the ball. Walker Zimmerman, he hasn't been good on the ball. Miles Robinson, he hasn't shown anything like that. So by dropping John Brooks, you're saying that your status is more important than us playing well. And I don't think Brooks is somebody who's particularly disliked in the locker room. I haven't seen anything like that. Just from stuff that I've seen, I look at somebody like Sebastian Lletget, who was reportedly not celebrating after the Costa Rica game because he got dropped. Christian Roldan, who's publicly questioning tactics. Even Christian Pulisic, who was doing that. Like, if John Brooks were to do something like that, I would understand, but from what I'm hearing, it's basically only that he yells at players a bit, which, I mean, that's not something perfect for team chemistry, but I'm pretty sure if you've played, everybody has somebody like that, and they're typically a really good player who's just wanting to bring up the expectations of the team. Again, I'm not inside the locker room, I can't say, but it just seems like a dumb power move by Berhalter. Then going into goalkeeper, I would have liked Ethan Horvath to be in the team. On one hand, he's not playing at all, but he wasn't playing at all when he came in the Nations League, and he did extremely well. And something about these MLS players, Matt Turner hasn't played in a while. Neither has Sean Johnson, neither has Gabriel Slonina. I like Slonina being here for experience, but I don't know, because we're in the middle of a pandemic, and should something happen, I don't want that responsibility to fall on Slonina. That's part of the reason why I would have liked to have Horvath in the team, because I do think he's our third best goalkeeper, and he's proven that he can come in and do well even when he's cold. And I'm not sure if Sean Johnson has that ability, and I would have liked him as that option. Now, another snub, I mentioned Brooks. Gianluca Busio being left off this team is stupid to me. He's been playing a lot in Venice. He's been looking really good. In that last game against Jamaica, he was directly involved in the goal, because you remember that play. Chris Richards advanced the ball. Busio was involved in a 1-2, then it got to Pepe. And I look at this midfield, Sebastian Lletget does not have the talent to pull off that 1-2, those quick passes. Christian Roldan does not either. So dropping Busio is a stupid decision in my mind. Joe Scaley is another guy who was dropped, because I don't get it. I mentioned our left back. Why would we drop somebody as versatile as him, playing at that high of a level, for Brooks Lennon, who didn't look good against Bosnia and Herzegovina's C team? And listen, he's not been a bad MLS player, but you have to, was he better than Oliver Mbazo this year? He was worse than Aaron Herrera, I can tell you that. I'm just thinking about, MLS level right backs, and I don't think he's that great. He's an average MLS player. That's somebody who shouldn't be called up. DeAndre Yedlin hasn't even been playing lately. I don't know why he's in the squad as well. And going forward, I still don't get Paul Arriola being in the squad, because something about him, if you want to mention his work rate, something that you also have to mention is his injury record, because he's gotten hurt a lot, and we're going to be playing these cold weather games. For whatever reason, our federation scheduled cold weather games. It's not to prepare for Canada, because we don't care about winning away games. So we have these. I think we know why, but yeah, that's something you have to get into a whole different video. But Paul Arriola, he's going to be, if he has to press for 90 minutes, or let's say a total of 135 minutes this window, he's not fit. He's not fully fit. He hasn't been playing games. There's a decent chance he gets hurt. And I look at somebody like Nicholas Giacchini and Matthew Hoppe, who outplayed him in the Gold Cup, and I don't understand why Paul Arriola is here. Okay, just throwing that out there. And there's a lot of dead weight on this team, and honestly, he's going through the squad top to bottom again. Steffen, Turner, they should be there. Depends on who you want to start. I honestly wouldn't be mad either way because Steffen isn't playing. He has made mistakes, but he is good with his feet. Turner, very good shot stopper. Probably even better at some other goalkeeper things like commanding his box, in my opinion. Or at least compared to Steffen when he's completely rusty, which he is. Sean Johnson, if you want him over Ethan Horvath, I'll list that argument. But in my opinion, just with what Horvath's been able to do, I would rather have him. And I guess giving Slonina experience is fine, but I don't feel like it's necessary. At right back or fullback, I would have liked Joe Skelly to be in the team. He should be. And not having him in the squad is basically just saying that, come the World Cup, are we going to say that Joe Skelly shouldn't be in the team because he's not experienced? Because he wasn't playing in these games, and we're giving Brooks Lennon and DeAndre Yedlin call-ups when Brooks Lennon's average and DeAndre Yedlin isn't playing. There's Sergiño Dest. It's good to get him in. I'm just happy for him getting some game time. And Reggie Cannon, I'm glad he's back in the squad. And Antonee Robinson, he should be there. But we should have brought another left back because we attack through our fullbacks a lot, and I don't want us to get into a situation where we're having to play Kellyn Acosta at left back, or, God forbid, put Tyler Adams at right back, Sergiño Dest at left back, because that's a very real possibility. Center back, Chris Richards, Miles Robinson, like them as a starting partnership. Walker Zimmerman, he's fine, but I feel like even defensively, I feel like he's third best, and I'd like him as a backup, but nothing spectacular. Mark McKenzie's a weird story because I love his player profile. He's a great athlete. He's good on the ball. On paper, he's a great player, but when he puts on this jersey, I don't know. I feel like the bright lights blind him because he just doesn't perform, and he does great in games like friendlies, and I don't know. He's a weird story because you see the talent, you see how good he can be, but he has to put it all together, and he's not playing that much right now to begin with, and not having John Brooks is just not good in my opinion. At defensive mid, Tyler Adams, great selection. Love having him there. Kellyn Acosta, he should have been in the squad with how big it is, but I don't like him as our backup 6 option because he's so limited on the ball that if he's even in the lineup, we won't be able to dominate possession against the team. And if we're not dominating possession against a team like El Salvador or a team like Honduras, the game will get dangerous because they will have chances. And right now, we've got a defense that can make a bunch of mistakes. Be that Sergiño Dest, be that Antonee Robinson. Walker Zimmerman has not looked that good defending set pieces. Ask Nashville, you saw that against Jamaica where we got really lucky to avoid a goal. Chris Richards is still young. Miles Robinson is probably the only defender I feel really comfortable with. And if we're not dominating the ball, things can get dangerous. That's just what I want to say. I would have liked Tanner Tessman in the team. I don't think Tanner Tessman's some great player. I know about all of his faults, but I think he's our best backup 6 option at the moment. Going further into the midfield, Weston McKennie, awesome to see. He has to be here. He might be the best player on the team, which that's a large statement, but he's looking really good. Yunus Musa, glad to see him there. He's been playing a lot more for Valencia, so he definitely should be starting. Luca de la Torre, really excited about him. Hopefully he's somebody who could come off the bench or maybe even rotate him into a starting lineup because we haven't seen him start before. And if he doesn't have a great performance starting, that's something that could happen. And if he looks bad in that game, we have to evaluate that. I'm fine with doing that, but he does deserve the chance and definitely over someone like Lletget or Roldan. But I'm mainly looking forward to him coming off the bench and being able to do something against tired teams because he's looked really good in that situation before. Lletget, I can see him being useful if we are struggling to come up with a goal, but at the same time, when you play him, the midfield quality just drops so much that it's a big risk to bring him on, and he's not that strong defensively. Luca de la Torre, I like him more defensively, but yeah, Lletget, it's not great there. And Christian Roldan, he doesn't offer anything on an international level. The fact that he's a good MLS player says more about the MLS than it does him. I've never been impressed with him in a national team shirt. Yeah, I don't think he's good enough on the ball. he tries to make some plays happen sometimes, but he's not really good enough, and I don't want him in the team at all. Then going further forward to the wingers, Pulisic, great to see him in the squad. He's going to have a huge window. I'm really looking forward to seeing him. Brendan Aaronson, really like his energy, really like everything that he offers. He's been looking really dangerous in the box. He's making goal chances. He presses like a madman. He has a ton of work rate, and he's someone who needs to be in the team. Tim Weah, hopefully I honestly wouldn't be mad if he didn't play the first game or if he only comes off the bench because, again, he's coming back from an injury, and he's a very injury-prone player. So I honestly wouldn't have been mad if he was left off. He's so talented. He might even be a starter for this team at full strength, but I'm not even sure if I want to risk playing him because something about Berhalter is he will run our players into the ground. Pulisic was out for a while because we just kept playing him even though he's coming back from the virus. We played Gio Reyna after he was coming back from injury. He's still not recovered, so I'm a little worried about that, but if he is 100%, Tim Weah is going to be vital for this team. Jordan Morris, I really don't think he should be in the squad at full strength, but right now he's a decent enough option, and if we're playing him against somebody like El Salvador or Honduras, I can see him making a good goal contribution because he does raise his level of play. I do like his mentality. He works as hard as he can. He gets the most out of his talent that he can, but he's kind of a low ceiling player. High floor, low ceiling, which isn't a bad thing, but it's not a good thing. And Paul Arriola, I don't think he brings anything to this team anymore. And the things that he does bring are non-factors. And then up top, Ricardo Pepe, very good player. I think that people are going too much into him, like his form. Like he came up with an assist against Jamaica. His hold-up play is elite. If he just starts putting those chances away, which he has been doing, like he's a great player and should be in this team. Yazzie Zardes, he's not a good player. He's a decent MLS striker, not a top MLS striker. And he offers nothing other than goal scoring. He's not good on the ball. He doesn't make intelligent runs like Pepe does. His athleticism is starting to go as well. Like I don't think Zardes brings anything. He hasn't played since what? He's played that friendly against Bosnia that I think is less intense than training sessions. And that's it since I think October. I don't think he's good enough for the team. I wasn't opposed to DK staying home because he hasn't played much, but nobody has. So DK's just a better player. And I would have liked Pfalk more than him. And I'll say this again, I don't think Yazzie Zardes is better than someone like a CJ Sapong. I don't think he's somebody better than somebody like a Brian White. And that's not even to get into guys like Castellanos in the MLS, so I'm disappointed with that selection. And Jesus Ferreira is tough to talk about because if we played with a 10, I'd be excited about him, but we don't. And since we don't, I have to judge him as a 9 or a winger. And as a 9 or a winger, he's not a great player. I probably would have preferred someone like Nicholas Giucini. I probably would have preferred someone like Matthew Hoppe. That's nothing to say about his skills, but the way that Berhalter uses him, I'm not too much of a fan of him. And that's about the whole squad. So a lot of quality in this team. I think we could be in trouble when we have to rotate. So, I can see So the best case scenario is we play our strongest team against, I think Honduras is our first game. It might be El Salvador. We play our strongest team in Minneapolis. We get an easy win. Then we can rotate the team against Canada. Canada's not at full strength either. They have players who aren't playing as well. So let's say we rotate that squad, and then the guys are able to come up with a result. I think a draw would be fair. I wouldn't expect a win with our weaker team going away to Canada. And then we can play our full-strength team again against El Salvador at home and come away with 7 points for the window, basically seal up World Cup qualifying. That's the best-case scenario in my opinion. Well, the best-case scenario is 9 points, but I feel like that's what we can realistically expect out of this campaign. But then there's the possibility that the first game we go with the MLS players as they've been there for so long, and we put out a team like Zardes, Arriola, Pulisic, put Acosta at the 6, move Adams out to right back, and I could see a situation where we're not able to win that game against Honduras, where that game becomes end-to-end and we just don't have the creativity to break through. And then we don't have the strongest game against Canada. I don't expect us to get 3 points against Canada. I don't think we want to win those games. Like, judging by the interviews after the Jamaica game, like, we have it instilled in us that those games aren't winnable, and self-fulfilling prophecies can be a strong thing. And then the weather report hasn't come out for Columbus yet, but if that's bad, there's a possibility that we only get 3 points this window, which I don't think happens, but it's a possibility. I'm hoping that first thing happens, because 7 points I feel like is realistic. That's the expectation. I wouldn't be mad at 6. I wouldn't be mad if we lost to Canada. I would be mad, but I wouldn't be, like, down about it, I guess. But, yeah, that's my opinion on this World Cup qualifying team. Definitely could have been better, but enough quality to get us to a Qatar. Yeah, so it's a very good... I'm excited for these games. That's all I'll talk about, really. See ya.